Once upon a time, there lived two beautiful sisters, Oma and Adako. They were more than just sisters, they were inseparable, bound by love and unity, and had a shared past of hardship. With no parents or close relative, Adako, the eldest, took on the roles of both mother and father, ensuring that Oma, her baby sister, never lacks anything. She protected her so much, shielding her from pain and hardship, until one day, Richard, a wealthy and kind man, came into Oma's life and asked for her hand in marriage. Adako played the role of a father and blessed their union. She even gave Oma a liquid substance that would hasten her getting pregnant, as tradition demanded that a bride price be paid after a child was born. However, 2 years passed and Oma remained childless. Adaku, seeing her sister's distress, sent a maid to assist her and eased the stress so that she can conceive easily, and even arranged a consultation with a fertility specialist. The doctor's diagnosis was devastating. Oma had severe fertility issue and could only conceive through IVF. As years passed, Adako, Oma's elder sister, shocked everyone by becoming a single mother, giving birth to a baby girl. She explained to Oma that she had chosen this path willingly, not wanting a father in her child's life. Oma and Richard, meanwhile, continued praying and hoping for a child of their own. But Richard slowly changed. He began coming home late, drowning his sorrows in alcohol, the weight of infertility crushing his spirit. Desperate to save her marriage, Oma proposed an unconventional solution. Since her eggs had continually failed, they could use an egg from Adako, her elder sister, and combine it with Richard's sperm for a successful IVF. Richard was reluctant, but Oma persuaded him. Adako, eager to help her younger sister, did not hesitate. The procedure was a success, and soon Oma became pregnant. However, Richard's behavior did not improve. He continued drinking and staying out late, haunted by secrets he couldn't share. Oma decided to hold a baby shower party. She and her husband Richard had been the picture perfect couple, married for 8 years and now expecting their first child. Their excitement was contagious. To celebrate, Oma's sister Adaku organized an elaborate baby shower at their suburban home. Friends and family, neighbors gathered in anticipation, armed with gifts wrapped in pastel house. The air was thick with laughter, clinking glasses, and the scent of freshly baked cakes. Yet, beneath the cheerful facade, secrets were shimmering and threatening to boil over. Oma, radiant in a flowy blue dress, welcomed everyone with her signature warmth. Richard, the ever-charming husband, played the doting partner, never straying far from her side. But Adako, usually the life of the party, seems unusually tensed. She glanced at her phone repeatedly and avoided eye contact with her sister, Oma. The game began. Guests laughed as they guessed baby names, changed diapers on dolls in recording times, and reminisced about their own parenting adventure. Adaku was quieter than usual, excusing herself often to check on the food. As the afternoon wore on, Oma announced, "Before we get to the present, I just want to thank all of you for being here. It seems so much to Richard and me. We are so blessed to have such a supportive circle. She paused, her smile flattering for just a second. And I am even more grateful to my sister, Adaku, for organizing this beautiful event. Everyone clapped, but Adaku's face tightened. She forced a smile and gave a small nod. Midday through the gift opening, an envelope slipped out of one of the bags. It was addressed to Oma with no sender's name. Curious, she opened it, her brow frowning as she read the letter inside. Richard leaned over, asking, "What is it, honey?" But Oma's hand trembled as she folded the paper and placed it in her lap. "Nothing. I think it's just a prank, I guess." But her physical appearance changed. She went through the rest of the gift on autopilot, her smile no longer reaching her eyes. Adaku, standing by the snack table, watched intensely. She seemed ready to intervene, but held back. A knowing glance passed between her and Oma, but no words were exchanged. As the party wound down, Oma excused herself to the kitchen, asking Richard to join her. Minutes later, muffled shouting could be heard through the walls. Guests exchanged awkward glances. Adaku tried to distract them by offering seconds of cake, but the tension was too much. Finally, Richard stormed out of the kitchen, his face red with anger. "I can't believe this! I can't believe this, Richard!" Oma shouted. "You are accusing me after everything?" Richard replied. Oma followed, tears streaming down her face. "How could I not? The evidence is right there." Adaku froze, her plate of cupcake flipping from her hands and crashing to the floor. "Stop!" she yelled, her voice shaking. "This isn't the time or place for this," Adako said. But it was too late. Richard turned towards her and said, "Oh, don't pretend you are innocent in all this. You did this, didn't you? This is what you have always wanted." The room felt silent. Oma took a deep breath, her voice shaking, turned to her sister, Adako. "What is he talking about?" Oma asked. Adako took a deep breath and turned to her sister. "For 8 years," she said, "you were never infertile, Oma. I made you believe you were." Oma gasped. "What?" Adako continued. "Richard here is the father of my children. I planned everything because I hate you, and I've always hated you since the day you were born." All eyes turned to Adaku, whose face had gone pale. I just wanted to have my own happy ending. What will it cost you to just die or disappear? I hate you, Oma." Oma, with tears streaming down her face. "What did I ever do to you?" Oma said. The tension was unbearable. Guests awkwardly shuffled towards the door, murmuring apologies as they left. "It used to be all about me," Adako began. "Our parents loved only me and treated me like a princess until you came along and separated us. You didn't only take their love and attention away from me, but you also killed our mother. She never returned home after giving birth to you. I became lonely because of you, and that's because Dad took you as the baby of the house and tossed me aside. I stood aside and watched you take my position as an Ada in our family." Oma replied. "But we were so happy." "No!" Adako cut in. No, you were happy. I tried to be, but it wasn't working. So I pretended to be. And our father made me to promise him that I would take you under my wing, not only as an elder sister, but as a parent. And I did a good job in raising you and protecting you and sacrificing everything for you. But you have always been greedy and mean. You knew I saw him first. I saw Richard first and liked him first. And I even told you. And you still went ahead and accepted his marriage proposal. But what was I supposed to have done? He chose me. And Adaku replied, sniffing her nose. And you couldn't tell him your sister had feelings for him. You didn't because you didn't care. And just like that, you got married before me. Are you forgetting that you were supposed to wait for me to marry before getting married? Oh, no. Oma cares for no one but herself. The maid I gave you was a spy. I paid her to tell me your every move. 8 years of barrenness, of childlessness, I did it. Your doctor is my friend. She does what I say, and that's why I recommended you to her. I made sure she made both of you believe that there was something wrong with you. Oh no, I can't do this, Richard said, grabbing his coat. Oh yes, you can. Adaku yelled at him. We wouldn't be here if you had just divorced her and accept your kids. Tears streaming down Oma's face, turned to her husband, Richard. You had kids with my elder sister. Why would you do this to me? Richard, filled with regret, turned to his wife and said, Adaku blackmailed me. I never knew. She called me one day and told me, and then she started blackmailing me. She threatened to tell you a twisted version of events, making it look like I betrayed you. She wanted me to divorce you and marry her. That's why I started drinking and staying out late. I couldn't face you. I couldn't live with the guilt. Oma, turning to her sister, pointing to the kids. You mean he's the father of your children? Adako, wiping the tears off her face, replied, there was never a partner. Richard here is their father. Whilst you were both thinking that you were infertile and going through fertility treatment, my friend would eject me with his male juice. And these children are the result. Look at me, 43 years old, who would still marry me? I tried moving on with some couple of men, but then none of them stayed because I couldn't get pregnant. It turned out I was the one having fertility problems. So I gave up and decided to come back and take what is mine. What are you talking about? Oma asked, her voice barely above a whisper. You gave me your egg with Richard's semen to form this baby for us. So what are you saying? Why did you say you were the one having fertility problem? Whose baby am I carrying? Adako's confession spilled out in a rush. Why are you acting like a surrogate mother over your own child? You thought I gave you an egg as a loving sister to save your marriage. There was not even an egg to give. The baby in your womb is biologically yours. I only made sure, professionally, to make you and this one here believe that the baby was mine and that I was the one doing you a favor. But how did Richard father your children? You said you never gave me an egg. Then whose embryo did you use? Like, make me understand, Adako. Oma cried out. Are you normal? Or you can't think? My friend, do the maths. Your eggs and his semen together injected into my body. How difficult can that be for you to figure out? Oma fell to the ground on her knees, crying profusely on the wickedness her sister had shown towards her. Richard, holding Oma by the shoulder, who turned to her sister, Adaku, saying, "You are mean, you are wicked, and you are evil. I will not forgive you for this. 8 years. 8 years of childlessness, and I thought it was my fault. You bore my children right under my nose, making me suffer. I will not, and I will never forgive you." Oma stood up and removed her husband's hand from her shoulder, grabbed her phone from the table, and called the police on Adaku and got her arrested. Months later, and Oma gave birth to a beautiful bouncing baby girl. And right there at the hospital, Richard pleaded that they should release her sister, Adako, from the prison and forgive her. Possibly she must have learned her lesson by now. But Alma decided to wait until she gets discharged from the hospital before going to the prison to visit her sister and plan for the release. But on getting there, the policemen refused her entry, telling her that it was too late, that Adaku had a fight with one of her prison mates who stabbed her to death. Alma was shocked, asking why the news never got to her before now, and they replied that it was a recent event and that they were about to send her letter before her visit to the prison. Alma returned home sad, sharing the news with her husband as they decided to move on with their newborn baby and the other 2 children that Adaku has given birth to. The maid was later arrested for conspiring with Adaku to be a spy in their home, and the fertility doctor was also arrested and her license was taken back from her. Hey beautiful viewers, I hope you loved and enjoyed this story. Please don't forget to subscribe, share, and comment. And tell me what you learned about the story in the comment section, and I hope to see you on my next video. Bye.